if you grow herbs in your garden, it is very easy to preserve them by drying and dehydrating. And then you can use them all winter long in cooking, or in this case, we're looking at some of my catnip, and you can use it all winter long to drive your cats crazy if you want. So the first thing you want to do is pick your herbs early in the morning, or when it's dry is a good time to pick them. And you just want to get the nice leaves of whatever you're picking. Just get a big bunch of it and get the leaves that look good, especially depending on what you're using it for. We grow a lot of different herbs here and dry them to use throughout the year. And this is some oregano, and I have chives. That's rosemary. This is sage. I also have lemon, verbena, and I've got thyme and marjoram. I just kind of grow all my herbs in one little condensed garden here. Also have some lavender. That is something else that you can dehydrate the flowers, and that smells really nice. Right now it's late October, so I usually do this more in the spring when they're really starting to grow and the leaves are more tender, but you can do it any time that you want. So after you get all your herbs picked, you're going to want to wash them in cold water and dry them off a little bit. And this is our dehydrator. It's small, but it does the job pretty well. I dehydrate herbs and some of my vegetables too, and it does a great job on that. This was just one, I think, from Walmart, and it works really well. So I'll show you how I load mine on there. Don't use more trays than you're going to need to dry, because it's just going to lengthen the drying time. For something that has leaves like this catnip, what I do is I'll just kind of spread it out, saves time. If I've got a bunch together, I might kind of pick them off a little to make it so it's one even layer so that they all dry evenly. You can also flip it over so they're laying flat. Something like chives is pretty simple. You're just going to lay it on there, and you can do, this has 4 racks. You could probably do 4 racks at a time if you wanted. Same with the sage. You can go ahead and pick the leaves off of the sage if you want individually. A lot of times I'll do a ton of sage, so I'll just pretty much lay the stems on there and let them dry that way. Oregano sometimes will have stems on it. Same thing, I'll just dry it like that. Rosemary stems, I'll just dry it that way. And then what happens, after you have your trays loaded, and only do one herb at a time. I'm just showing you how I do the different kinds. Mine has a setting for herbs and spices, and it's 95 degrees, so I'll set it on 95 degrees and plug it in and run it. Some will take a few hours to dry, some it takes longer. It also is going to depend on how many racks you have loaded up on there. But the way you can tell they're done is they're very crunchy, and that's what you want. You don't want any moisture in there because that can cause it to mold while you have it in storage. So once it's all dry, then I can just take the individual leaves and they will just peel right off of the stems, is what I do. And I put it into a bowl and pull the leaves right off the stems, and that works really well for me. I wanted to show you some things that I have dehydrated. This is lavender flowers, and they kept their beautiful purple color, and these are actually even 2 years old. But you could, and they still smell wonderful. You could use that for soaps or whatever. I don't know if you cook with that or not. Oregano, I do a lot of oregano. You can make lots of different spice combinations with oregano, but you can hear how crunchy it is. That is completely dry. Those are pretty much whole leaves, but you could powder it, you could crunch it up further. I've done tomatoes that I've dried tomato slices. And here are the rosemary. You can see there's no stems left, it just, the leaf parts come right off of it. And I just put them in mason jars with lids and store small ones in my cooking cupboards, and then I'll have bigger jars down in the basement that I store on my canning shelf that I'll use to refill or to make different herb mixes. So that is drying your herbs in a short way. Thanks for watching.